In today's video, I am going to give you 5 tips on losing body fat. Now, these tips are actually going to make the process easier. Some of these are the opposite of what some people think, but again, it's gonna make it easier and more enjoyable. So these are some tips that you're gonna wanna follow. Now, let's get into the tips. Woohoo! Okay, so tip number 1 is do not overcomplicate your nutrition. All you need to do is stick to a calorie goal and a protein goal. For that, you can stay within a range. So I tell people 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is good. So as long as you're sticking to protein and calories, your carbs and fats fall into place. So you don't need to obsess over exact macros because there's just no room for them to be too high. Otherwise, the calories would be over or the protein would be like way under. So if you're hitting protein and calories and filling those calories with primarily nutritionally dense foods, then you also have room for some treats here and there. So that'll end up being about 20% of your daily calories, roughly, give or take. It doesn't have to be like bang on. That could be like a treat, and that's it. So there's no reason to overcomplicate it further. This is the approach I use, and it's great because it just takes so little thought and planning and time. You just go in, you're like, okay, I'm close to my protein, I'm on the right direction, okay, I'm by my calories. Like, it's just very easy and it's so much easier to maintain. When I was struggling with yo-yo dieting, it was when I was very obsessed over exact macros. So that is a huge tip for losing fat. Do not overcomplicate it. Stick to a calorie goal and a protein goal. 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and that's it. You're good. And you will make it a lifestyle and maintain the results. Okay, so tip number 2 is to lift heavy. Some people are afraid to lift heavy when they're trying to lose body fat. They'll say, oh, my arms are already big. What if this just makes it worse and bulks them up? And it will not, as long as you are eating correctly as well. When you're eating properly, you're going to lose body fat, because it's when you have excess body fat that you are not going to get the toned, lean look that you're working for. So when I had a higher body fat and was lifting for quite a while, my arms were, like, they didn't look muscular and big. They just looked like high body fat and big, because years and years before I even started lifting, when I was at a heavier body fat, my arms would also be big and they looked very similar. If anything, they still looked a bit better once I had started lifting when I had excess body fat in comparison to when I hadn't been lifting, because they had a tiny bit of definition. So even if you're saying, oh, I feel like some people will have a bit of an awkward adjustment phase where they're taking a little bit to lose weight, so they're feeling like they're putting on muscle and not getting smaller. And it's like, just stick with it, give it time, and make sure you're eating correctly, because when you lift heavy, it's what forces your body to change more than like just some light body weight stuff. You're not gonna accidentally get too big. Like, even if you thought my muscle amount was too much, this wasn't an accident. I've been lifting very hard for 8 years, and yeah, it's not like you're gonna pick up dumbbells and accidentally get too big. So really the key is just make sure your nutrition is on point, and as you gain more muscle, you burn more calories as well. So you'll be able to lose weight on more food. Tip number 3 is don't prioritize cardio. So going back to tying the last 2 points together, if your calories and protein are on point and you are lifting, the cardio is like the icing on top. So that's not actually going to change your body as much as the lifting and proper nutrition. Cardio honestly doesn't burn that many calories. So yes, you still want to do some cardio, but on the other hand, some people will say, do I have to do cardio in order to lose body fat, or could I just make sure I eat really well and really push myself in my lifts. And yeah, you definitely could do that. So I'm not saying not to do that. I'm not saying to do that. I do think it's still good for you to do some cardio, although lately I haven't been. That's my next point though, so I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, so what you wanna do is you wanna be really pushing yourselves in your lifts and not making cardio the main thing. If you're going in and just doing cardio, your body adapts to it pretty quickly. So you might initially see a bit of a drop in weight and that's it. It's not going to, again, tone define your physique. It's just gonna make you look kind of more like skinny fat. So yeah, use cardio as a tool on top of the main things. Okay, so point number 4, which also ties in with that, is try to stay relatively active. I remember when I started lifting, I just thought that meant I could be super lazy the rest of the day and hardly walk. So I would literally like lie around in bed and be like, I would just not ever try to walk extra. I'd be like, oh, I worked hard in the gym. I should lie down more to recover. And that is so stupid because first of all, light walking helps with your recovery. So dumbass. But aside from that, walking and moving throughout the day does increase your calorie burn, and it's a way to do it without like fatiguing yourself. Like for example, if you went running for hours, that's obviously gonna really tire you out. It's going to slow down your recovery, which is going to slow down your results. Whereas just when walking, it adds up, but it's not strenuous, it's not stressful on your body. So that's what I actually have been doing. I've hardly been doing any formal cardio. What I do is aim for about 10K steps a day. Some days I get more, some days I get a little bit less, but I make that the goal, and that's it. It's not that I don't like I do actually enjoy some steady state cardio, but things have just been very, very hectic right now. And I find just going on little walks throughout the day is kind of like a nice stress reliever. So yeah, that is actually what I'm doing. So even if you are still doing cardio, again, just focus on being a little bit more active throughout the day. Like don't park right next to like the building that you're parking at. Maybe take the stairs if they're not too many. I don't know, just little things, just try to still be active because it increases the calorie burn. Okay, and tip number 5 is to eat high volume foods. So what does this mean? This means foods that are like, they look like a lot when they're sitting out, but they're not high calorie. So for example, vegetables. You can have a massive plate of vegetables and it be still fairly low calorie, but because of the fiber it's gonna fill you up. And so say that's like 200, even if you had like 200 calories of vegetables, that's a shit ton, but that's gonna fill you up so much more than say 200 calories of something sugary that doesn't have fiber. Now, that doesn't mean that you are not allowed to eat the sugary things without fiber. It just means that's the reason why you don't want, or one of the reasons why you wouldn't want those to be all your calories, because you get hungrier. So if you're in a caloric deficit and you're trying to stay more full, definitely try to think of high volume meals so you're not starving. So even for me, like I'll have eggs with a bunch of egg whites. That actually is fairly high volume. And then I'll have it with vegetables as well. Even in general, trying to focus on eating foods higher in fiber is going to help because fiber fills you up more. So yeah, even things like fruits. An example of a food, unfortunately, that's not high volume and low calorie is peanut butter, because yeah, you get the tiniest little amount and the calories add up so fast. That's like a calorically dense food. It is low volume. So yeah, things, even like popcorn, like say an air pop popcorn, where it's like you get a lot for low calories. Like that's a high volume food. So try to incorporate those because it will fill you up more, you'll feel more satisfied, and it will help you. All right, and those are my 5 tips for losing body fat. If you have any go-to tips, write them down below, share them with us, let us know. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!